Hi, my name is Mathew Rusky, and I'm a UIC student, and I'm not here to just talk about graphic novels today. I'm here to talk about something a little bit more than that, something more important. Death. More specifically, my death. I have a eulogy prepared here for you. It's my eulogy picture. And again, my name is Mathew Rusky, and this is my eulogy for Mathew Rusky. Matt was born in 2003 and died yesterday. And before Matt died, he wanted me to let all of you know that... Sorry. He wanted me to let you know that DC Comics Daytripper is a hidden gem. Those were his last words, actually. To summarize, Daytripper is a comic by Gabriel and Fabio Moon that centralizes on the character Bras de Alava Domingos, who is an obituary writer. This would prove to be ironic because each chapter, each of the 10 chapters, is a random point in Bras's life, and at the end of each of those chapters, Bras would die. Today I'm going to be looking at Daytripper through the lens as though it were a celebration of life. First, how it uses nonlinear narrative to emphasize specific moments in a person's life. Next, how through Bras, readers are better able to appreciate their mortality. And finally, how the moments before death shape life itself. Well, first, Daytripper forgoes the conventional linear narrative, opting instead for a fragmented collection of stories that piece together various moments in Bras's life. Arguably, the first and last chapters are important to the life of Bras. They're important to the story. In the first chapter, Bras is mad at his parents because they forgot his 32nd birthday. So they forgot 1 in 32. 1 in 32 is not that bad. I mean, that's about as good as the Chicago White Sox win-to-lose ratio. I digress, sorry. As far as it goes, Bras is at a bar and he's getting a drink, and all of a sudden the bar owner's nephew barges in and guns down the owner. And he tells Bras, "You don't choose your family." And then he guns down Bras too. Choice is a vital message to start the story on, because you cannot choose your mom and dad, you cannot choose your family, you don't choose how and when you were born. Subsequently, you cannot choose how and when you will die either. But you can choose how you react to those situations. In the 10th and final chapter, Bras is an old man nearing a natural death, and he does something different in the 10th chapter. Compared to the previous 9 chapters where he dies at the end of each chapter, it's almost reluctant or he's trying to resist it. In this final chapter, he embraces it. He writes a letter to his wife, and in the letter he tells her, only when you can accept that one day he'll die, then you can truly be happy and make the best out of life. This is what he's learned at the end of his long life, that you need not fear the inevitable, embrace it. He continues on to say that, I wanted to congratulate you and tell you that you don't need me anymore. Bras stands in the ocean. Chapter ends. Graphic novel ends. The letter he writes to his wife is as much for the reader as it is for any character in that story. It's also there to say that you need not resist the shutting of the page, but instead appreciate what you have while you have it. Next, through the life of Bras, readers are better able to appreciate their mortality. Daytripper praises the mundane. Seeing that DC Comics published Daytripper, you'd expect the realm of comic books that showcases spandex-wearing, crime-stopping, superpowered heroes to swoop in and save the day, but not this story. This hidden gem appreciates ordinary life in an extraordinary way. When it comes to first off, I want to point out Bras is a normal guy. He comes across as a mediocre man living a mediocre life. And that's my kind of guy, that's my crowd. I mean, I don't need a Spanish learner to swoop in anyways, the point is. In chapter 4, after Bras's father has passed away, he has this experience of family drama. He runs into his half-sister after his father's funeral, and he's asking for a motivation for why she wants to speak now after all these years. And she gives this quote. She says, "Death gives us a whole new perspective to living, and everything else seems so minor and silly." It's simple, but it's true. Death looms in the background of Daytripper to remind readers that life is fragile. It's also there to say you don't need to catch a comet or punch a bad guy in the face or leap a tall building in a single bound to be a superhero, that living a normal life is heroic enough. It's also there to say that readers should reevaluate their lives, weed out the minor and silly problems, and instead of saving the world, save themselves. The moments before death often shape life itself. Often, in the end, when Bras would die, it changes the moral to the story. It changes the moral to the chapter he is in. Often he would die tragically, sometimes he would die horrifically, and maybe even ironically. Each end seemingly strikes him out of nowhere. In chapter 4, Bras experiences the death of his father and the birth of his son within the same day. And he juggles conflicting responsibilities and a variety of emotions that he chooses to suppress for the sake of his wife and mother and newborn son until his heart tragically gives out. From this, we learn that he's a family man. In chapter 7, Bras seeks out his friend Jorge, who never returned from vacation. And he travels out of country, leaving his family behind to seek out his friend Jorge. And when he finds Jorge, he finds him deranged, and Jorge horrifyingly kills Bras. From this, we learn that Bras is a loyal friend. And in chapter 3, Bras is dumped. Been there. And he's back on a search for purpose. Also relatable. And when he finds himself in a convenience store where he sees this random girl, and it takes him walking down the block to realize that this random girl is going to be his future wife one day. So what does he do? He runs back to the store, and his impulsive call to action winds up in him being smacked by a van. From this, we learn that he's a fool. Bras dies, and each end changes the moral to the chapter, to the story, to the life that he lived. This is the last frame of the graphic novel, and Daytripper helped me realize that death is inevitable. And I think about the moments before my death, and I'm brought back to this moment where we're here right now, and if there's one thing that you should take away from my eulogy today for myself, it's that we all die each and every day. Maybe it's just a part of us, or a version of us. Maybe it's our pride, or our ego, or maybe it's a belief, or a memory. But the Mathew Rusky of yesterday is dead. But the Mathew Rusky that stands before you today is alive and fully appreciates today and the importance of tomorrow. When I see this face, this smiling face, I don't see the face of a man that has died. I see the face of someone eager to begin living once again. Life is beautiful. Carpe diem. Seize the day.